Welcome to Questioning the Author and Questioning the Illustrator, Part A of our analysis of The Colour of Music by Lisa Tiffin and illustrated by Matt Otley. So in Part A, it is the explicit or modelled practice of questioning the author illustrator. So I will be providing the think aloud for my interpretation of the text. Part B and Part C will see you participating in guided practice and then independent practice in Part C. So I want you to think about the information that was shared with you in the essential knowledge in the previous slide, because that's going to be essential for you to move forward in this text. So as we mentioned in our reading for enjoyment, we've got the end notes here that clearly show some music that has been composed, I'm led to believe, by the author herself. The Colour of Music. Molly lies with her eyes closed and her ears open. Vibrations run through the floorboards and make her fingers tingle. I'm wondering, as the reader, what does the author want us to know about the character through her careful crafting of the words? Well, she wants us to know that the character, her name is Molly, and that she's lying on the floor in a very relaxed way, and she's feeling a physical response to the music that she's listening to. My next question is, how does the illustrator visually represent Molly's feelings towards music and the setting that she's currently in? Well, we can see from the illustration that Molly is very relaxed and comfortable in this setting. It's clear of any distractions. It's just Molly and the floorboards. But if we look really closely, Molly is in a supine position, so a very relaxed position on her back. You can see that her arms and legs are open and relaxed, and her face is really, really calm and peaceful. So we know that Molly is in a really comfortable position. Behind her eyelids, colours flash as she listens. The author has used the words behind her eyelids, so we know Molly is experiencing these sensations in her mind. How does the illustrator reflect this? So if we zoom on in, we can see that Molly is in a very similar position, so there's continuity from the last page. Her eyes are still closed, the headphones are still on. But what adds to this sense of all of this occurring in Molly's mind is the appearance of these musicians, but they're not completely there. There's a wash over them. We're only seeing silhouettes of them, and there's an inference that they're playing musical instruments. We're also seeing representation of colour, a spectrum of colours that we might see in the rainbow. So the illustrator reflects the author's words by using not only Molly's facial expressions and her relaxed body position, but also the inference of these things that might be being visualized in Molly's mind. If we have a little look closer at the words, the question I am asking is, why has the author used onomatopoeia on this page? As you can see, the word flash also represented the sound or the appearance of something in Molly's mind. I believe it helps us understand how Molly, the main character, how these images or these colours appear to her as she's experiencing the music. They appear in flashes. Peaceful, glistening arpeggios lilt up and over themselves from dark depths to airy tinkling tones, falling down into the deep rumbling waves of the bass. My question for the author is, why has the author used such a long, complex sentence to craft the sentence or the ideas? And I feel like the response might be something to do with what we can see here on the page. The author wants us to know that experiencing synesthesia can be up and down and responding to the music. It can lift us up and it can also drop us down. So it's almost like the journey or the full range of emotions that we might feel as we're listening to music. A complex sentence allows the author to do that, whereas a simple sentence or a short sentence has other references, or it makes us feel other responses, which we might explore later on. My other question is, what did you notice about my voice as I read? Do you think that this was intentionally crafted to convey the author's meaning? Here again, we see another image of water, but a vastly different image. If we flip back over, we can see the tumultuous way that the ocean moves and responds to the winds. But yet here, Molly is floating extremely peacefully, completely undisturbed, very serene. Why do you think the author and the illustrator have chosen not to include words on this page? It is part of the crafting process, and it's very purposeful, because I feel like, again, it's making us explore the journey that music can take us on. In one context, music can throw us up in the air, and then it can also bring us down and calm us. It's also really interesting to explore the way that light is conveyed on this text. It's beautifully contrasted against the deep, peaceful depths. And we've got another stark contrast. Angry, sharp and loud. The shrillness of the stabbing, sickly daggers attacks the atmosphere and rings in her ears. Angry, sharp and loud. It's a very short, sharp sentence. What is the purpose of this? I believe the author is trying to wake us up, to get us to pay attention to, again, the way that people with synesthesia might experience music. The attachment of colour to emotions. And not everybody who experiences synesthesia would experience it in the same way and have those same triggers or senses attached to different images. But this is one that probably culturally we understand. What does the author want us to know or infer about Molly's experience with music? We can see that Molly has been thrown upside down. So we know that deep within her emotions and her mind, the music is triggering a vastly different response. But yet if we look really closely, Molly is still very peaceful and relaxed. She doesn't look like she's alarmed. She's still enjoying the experience. We talked before about alliteration, and you could hear it in the way that I was reading the text. The shrillness of the stabbing, sickly daggers attacks the atmosphere and rings in her ears. I feel that the author has used this alliteration within the longer complex sentence to wake us up and make us pay attention. How do you think the author and illustrator have worked collaboratively to convey meaning on this page and throughout the book? You can see that in this text, the author and the illustrator have collaborated very, very closely because the images and the words align. But even the decision on some pages to not include text, that was a decision that was made in itself. So that just stops our explicit demonstration, our Part A video. As you can see in the Google Slides, that the questions and my explicit think aloud have been recorded for you in Part A of the Google Slides. What you're going to be asked to do in the guided practice of questioning the author illustrator is to consider the questions that have been posed and write your own responses. So you're going to do that for a number of slides, and then you'll have your own independent practice. Good luck. I'll see you in the next video.